The two main reasons I like to publish my own novels boils down to control and money. In this episode, I'll talk about control. As my own publisher, I can choose my editors and work with them on my schedule. By contrast, when you're contracted with a publisher, you're often assigned editors you don't know, and the editing process takes place on their terms. Almost all the editors I've ever met through a publisher were great, but occasionally you have to work with somebody difficult. I love being able to hire editors with whom I've worked before. For me, familiarity and trust makes the polishing process that much more rewarding. Furthermore, if I discover typos in my manuscript or I have to rewrite portions according to the feedback I've received, I can do that anytime at all. When you're with a publisher, you often don't have the luxury of making substantial changes. I can write my story any way I choose, without regard to the style sheet or guidelines provided by a publisher. I can also use the back matter to promote other books I've written. Of course, you have to remember that established publishers have a proven track record of success, or they would have gone out of business by now. I'm not trying to say that my judgment is better than theirs or that their style sheets or guidelines have no merit. In fact, that's exactly why I recommend you start with a publisher, to learn the ropes. When you publish your own books, you have to accept the fact that sometimes you're going to make mistakes. Just between you and me, however, I like taking ownership of those mistakes and being able to correct them. I choose the artwork to use on my covers. Publishers usually ask you to fill out an informational sheet about your book to assist the cover designer in preparing your cover. You're allowed and encouraged to include links to artwork you found on any of the royalty-free sites, but there's no guarantee that your cover designer will use any of those images. In the end, if you feel your cover doesn't reflect the essence of your book, that's too bad. Most of the time, you're stuck with that cover for the length of your contract, which is often 3 to 5 years, sometimes longer. Worse, sometimes a very popular image will find its way on the cover of several different books. When that happens to me these days, I can change my cover. If you're with a publisher, however, you must grin and bear it. As my own publisher, I have complete control over the finished product. If I want to alter my cover to correspond to an upcoming holiday, I can do that. For example, I can add a red bow to my covers just before Christmas. When you're contracted with a publisher, the publisher has the right to set the price of your book. The problem is, oftentimes, the price is higher than the market will bear. My publishers set the price of my novellas to $2.99. Few people want to spend that kind of money for that length for an author who is new to them. For full-length books, publishers often set the price to $3.99, $4.99, and sometimes much higher. A self-published author, on the other hand, can set the price of his or her books to whatever price they feel will help sell them. Furthermore, self-published authors can change the price of their books whenever they have a promotion going on. Publishers will often work with their authors on an upcoming promotion, but that adds another layer of uncertainty. For example, I know an author who scheduled a BookBub feature and their publisher forgot to change the price in time for the promotion. I believe the publisher ended up splitting the cost of that feature with their author by way of apology, but that doesn't make up for the heartbreaking loss of revenue and exposure. I can choose when to publish my book after it's been completed and not have to wait in a publisher's queue. Publishers schedule book releases months in advance and sometimes longer to allow professional reviewers the opportunity to write a review or for some other publicity campaign. As my own publisher, I can write a book, get it edited, and release it shortly after completion so it can begin earning income. One of my author friends signed a contract with an established publisher for the release of a book in a year. To me, the delay of a year means the sacrifice of a great deal of money. Whatever book advance my friend received did not outweigh what I earned on my self-published books in that intervening year. And that brings me to money. Next time, I'll give you a few numbers that just might surprise you. See you then.